It's a scientific fact that the hormones of stress downregulate genes and create disease, long-term effects. Human beings, because of the size of the neocortex, we can turn on the stress response just by thought alone. We can think about our problems and turn on those chemicals. That means then our thoughts could make us sick. So if it's possible that our thoughts could make us sick, is it possible then our thoughts could make us well? And the answer is absolutely yes. All organisms in nature can tolerate short-term stress. You know, a deer gets chased by a pack of coyotes. When it outruns the coyotes, it goes back to grazing and the event is over. And the definition of stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of balance, out of homeostasis. The stress response is what the body innately does to return itself back to order. So you're driving down the road, someone cuts you off, you jam on the brakes, you may give them the finger, and then you settle back down and the event is over and boom, now everything's back to normal. But what if it's your coworker sitting right next to you and all day long you're turning on those chemicals because they're pushing all your emotional buttons? When you turn on the stress response and you can't turn it off, now you're headed for disease because no organism in nature can live in emergency mode for that extended period of time. 95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that function like a computer program. So then a person can say with their 5% of their conscious mind, I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to be free. But the body's on a whole different program. A habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through repetition. So if you think about it, people wake up in the morning, they begin to think about their problems. Those problems are circuits of memories in the brain. Each one of those memories are connected to people and things at certain times and places. And if the brain is a record of the past, the moment they start their day, they're already thinking in the past. Each one of those memories has an emotion. Emotions are the end product of past experiences. So the moment they recall those memories of their problems, they all of a sudden feel unhappy, they feel sad, they feel pain. Now, how you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So the person's entire state of being when they start their day is in the past. So what does that mean? The familiar past will sooner or later be predictable future. If you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, and you can't think greater than how you feel, or feelings have become the means of thinking, by very definition of emotions, you're thinking in the past. And for the most part, you're going to keep creating the same life. So then people grab their cell phone, they check their WhatsApp, they check their text, they check their emails, they check Facebook, they take a picture of their feet, they post it on Facebook, they tweet something, they do Instagram, they check the news, and now they feel really connected to everything that's known in their life. And then they go through a series of routine behaviors. They get out of bed on the same side, they go to the toilet, they get a cup of coffee, they take a shower, they get dressed, they drive to work the same way, they do the same things, they see the same people, they push the same emotional buttons, and that becomes the routine, and it becomes like a program. So now they've lost their free will to a program, and there's no unseen hand doing it to them. So when it comes time to change, the redundancy of that cycle becomes a subconscious program. Most people then wait for crisis or trauma or disease or diagnosis. They wait for loss, some tragedy to make up their mind to change. And my message is, why wait? And you can learn and change in a state of pain and suffering, or you can learn and change in a state of joy and inspiration. And I think right now, the cool thing is that people are waking up. The moment you start feeling abundant and worthy, you are generating wealth. The moment you're empowered and feel it, you're beginning to step towards your success. The moment you start feeling whole, your healing begins. And when you love yourself and you love all of life, you'll create an equal. And now you're causing an effect. And I think that's the difference between living as a victim in your world, saying, I am this way because of this person or that thing or this experience. They made me think and feel this way. When you switch that around, you become a creator of your world, and you start saying, my thinking and my feeling is changing an outcome in my life. And now that's a whole different game, and we start believing more that we're creators of reality. If you're not being defined by a vision of the future, then you're left with the old memories of the past, and you will be predictable in your life. If you can sit your body down and tell it to stay like an animal, stay right here. I'm going to feed you when we're done. You can get up and check your emails. You can do all your texts. But right now, you're going to sit there and obey me. When you do that properly, and you're not eating anything or smelling anything or tasting anything, you're not up experiencing and feeling anything, you would have to agree with me that you're being defined by a thought, right? So when the body wants to go back to its emotional past, and you become aware that your attention is on that emotion, and where you place your attention is where you place your energy, you're siphoning your energy out of the present moment into the past, and you become aware of that. And you settle your body back down in the present moment, because it's saying, well, it's 8 o'clock. You normally get upset because you're in traffic around this time. And here you are sitting, and we're used to feeling anger, and you're off schedule. Oh, it's 11 o'clock, and you usually check your emails and judge everybody. Well, the body's looking for that predictable chemical state. Every time you become aware that you're doing that, and your body is craving those emotions, and you settle it back down into the present moment, you're telling the body it's no longer the mind, that you're the mind. And now your will is getting greater than the program. And if you keep doing this over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, just like training a stallion or a dog, it's just going to say, I'm going to sit. And the moment that happens, and the body's no longer the mind, when it finally surrenders, there's a liberation of energy. We go from particle to wave, from matter to energy, and we free ourselves from the chains of those emotions that keep us in the familiar past. And so if you think 60 to 70,000 thoughts in one day, and we do, and 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts as the day before, and you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, your life's not going to change very much, because the same thought leads to the same choice leads to the same behavior creates the same experience, and the same experience produces the same emotion. So as you become familiar with the thoughts, the behaviors, and the emotions of the old self, you're retiring that old self. As you fire and wire new thoughts and condition the body into a new emotional state, if you do that enough times, it'll begin to become familiar to you. So it's so important, just like a garden. If you're planting a garden, you got to get rid of the weeds. You got to take the plants from the past year and you got to pull them out. The rocks that sift to the top that are like our emotional blocks, they have to be removed. The soil has to be tenderized and broken down. We have to make room to plant a new garden. So primarily, we learn the most about ourselves and others when we're uncomfortable. The stronger the emotional reaction you have to some experience in your life, the more you pay attention to the cause. And the moment the brain puts all of its attention on the cause, it takes a snapshot, and that's called a memory. So long-term memories are created from very highly emotional experiences. So what happens then is that people think neurologically within the circuitry of that experience, and they feel chemically within the boundaries of those emotions. And so when you have an emotional reaction to someone or something, most people think that they can't control their emotional reaction. Well, it turns out if you allow that emotional reaction, it's called a refractory period, to last for hours or days, that's called a mood. I say to someone, hey, what's up? You say, I'm in a mood. Well, why are you in a mood? Well, I had this thing happen to me 5 days ago, and I'm having one long emotional reaction. If you keep that same emotional reaction going on for weeks or months, that's called temperament. Why is he so bitter? I don't know, let's ask him. Why is he so bitter? Why are you bitter? Well, I had this thing happen to me 9 months ago. And if you keep that same emotional reaction going on for years on end, that's called a personality trait. And so learning how to shorten your refractory period of emotional reactions is really where the work starts. So then people, when they have an event, what they do is they keep recalling the event, because the emotions of stress hormones, the survival emotions, are saying pay attention to what happened because you want to be prepared if it happens again. Turns out most people spend 70% of their life living in survival and living in stress.
See, the point is, you don't know how much future you've got. What's gone is gone. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Some of you have had divorces. Some of you have probably had bankruptcies. Some of you have had terrible things happen in the past. But what's gone is gone. It's in the past. And to spend your time focusing on the past is to spend the only thing that you've got, and that's what's right here, right now, because the sand never stops running. This is all we've got. And to spend your time now thinking of what happened there is making absolute certain that the future is going to be the same as the past. Now, I don't suppose many of us spend a lot of time thinking about that, but a lot of us spend a lot of time making that error. That's an excellent symbol. All you got is now. I remember years and years ago, I suffered with headaches, terrible headaches. I got to the point where I was taking Bufferin for the headaches. Then I got to the point where I was taking Sinutab with codeine for headaches. It was 16 in a bottle, and I got to the point where I was taking 2 bottles a day. As a matter of fact, most times I didn't even remember my head not aching. But I was sort of numb all the time. Of course, with that much junk in you, I guess you couldn't be any other way. And I remember talking to this chap. I was in the Hotel Vancouver, and I was picking up 2 heavy briefcases or suitcases, and I was in a real rush to get to the airport. He said, "What's the matter with you?" He said, "You look like you're going to pass out." And I said, "I feel like I am." Well, he said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "My head is aching so bad, I feel sick to my stomach." Now, some of you suffer with this, and I felt like banging my head against the wall. There was so much pain. He said, "Go and sit down in that chair." And I said, "I don't have time. I got to catch a plane." He said, "Listen, you can always get another plane. You only get one head." He said to me, "Do you know what forgive means?" And by the way he asked the question, I just thought I probably don't. And I said, "Well, I don't know." He says, "Forgive means let go of completely, abandon. Just let it go. Unequivocally. No strings attached." Now, he said, if you want to rid yourself of headaches, just forgive all thoughts that are on your mind. And you just listen to me. And he put me in a totally relaxed state. I felt better than I had felt for years. Because you're going to find that your head is aching because of the things that you're not letting go of. And it's causing tension, and it's causing an abnormal state of vibration of the cells in the brain, which causes the blood to rush to the head. And as you put yourself in a totally relaxed state, you'll soon become programmed to relax. I know that I would not be able to do what I do as often as I do it, and as long as I do it, if I wasn't relaxed. Leland Val Vanderwall said something when we were sitting having coffee, and I jotted it down. Every time this guy opens his mouth, he drops a pearl. I'm so wise. He said, "Let us not look back in anger, nor forward in fear, but around us in awareness." Was there ever depth in that? Let's not look back in anger. Let's quit thinking in reverse. Nor forward in fear, but around us in awareness.
We all face situations where the odds are against us. We don't see how we could get well, how a relationship could be restored, maybe how we could ever break an addiction. In the natural, it seems impossible. And it's easy to just accept it and think, this is my lot in life. But David said in Psalm 41, "The favor of God keeps my enemies from defeating me." When you walk in God's favor, honoring Him with your life, knowing who you are and whose you are, you cannot be defeated. You may suffer a temporary setback, a disappointment, an unfair situation, but if you'll keep moving forward, it won't be permanent. One touch of God's favor can turn any situation around. And what you're facing may seem bigger, stronger, more powerful, but deep down, don't be intimidated. You've got to know you cannot be defeated. The Creator of the universe has put His favor on your life. You too may have had a rough past. Maybe you've had some bad breaks. The good news is, it's not over. God is not finished. God always ends in all is well. If all is not well, it simply means it is not the end. You haven't seen what God is about to do. God is about to take what's meant for your harm and use it to your advantage. God is about to pay you back for the unfair things that have happened. Psalm 44 says it this way: they did not get the land in their own strength or by their own sword, but because you favored them. You may be up against a big challenge today. You've done everything you can in your own strength, in your own ability, and that's important. But let me encourage you, when you come to the end of your ability, when you don't see a way, when all the odds are against you, don't get discouraged. Don't let the negative thoughts keep playing in your mind. Just keep thanking God for His favor. And God will do for you what He did for these people. What you couldn't make happen on your own. What you couldn't fix in your own ability, because of the favor of God, He will make it happen for you. What am I saying? God knows how to solve your problems. God knows how to change people's minds. God knows how to restore your health. He's the one that made your body. It may look like that financial situation is never going to turn around, but one touch of God's favor can put you into overflow. You'll have more than enough. God is not limited by what you're facing. He's limited by what you're believing. When you believe, all things are possible. When you go through the day saying, Lord, thank you for your favor, that's when God can do things for you that you could never do on your own. Psalm 44, same scripture in the Message translation says, we didn't have to work for the land. You freely gave it to us. You sent our enemies packing and gave it to us smiling. You may have struggled in an area for a long time. You need to get ready. God is about to send that enemy packing. Just imagine that sickness, that cancer, that chronic pain packing up and leaving your body. God is going to send that addiction packing. He's going to send that debt, that struggle, that lack packing. Or how about that relationship problem, the legal issue, the infertility? It's not going to be with you your whole life. God is not only going to send it packing, but He's going to release the healing, the breakthrough, the baby you've been praying about, the business you've been wanting to start, the person you've been dreaming to be. Notice how God is going to do it. It says God gave it to them smiling. That's the way God is. He wants to be good to you. God wants you to live in victory, healthy, whole, free, and abundant life. Why don't you get in agreement with God and say, Lord, I want to thank you that you're sending my enemies packing, that you're doing for me what I could not do on my own. 1 Peter says, hope to the end for the divine favor that is coming. In difficult times, negative thoughts will tell you it's never going to change. You're never going to get out of this problem. So down deep, you've got to know favor is headed your way. Keep reminding yourself healing is coming. Breakthroughs are coming. Restoration is coming. Hope to the end. That means keep believing for God's favor. Get up every morning expecting it to turn around. Go out during the day knowing that you have a secret weapon. You cannot be defeated. The favor of God is on your life. You may be in a tough time, but that setback is simply a setup for a greater comeback. The winds that are trying to stop you, all God has to do is shift the direction, and instead of holding you back, they will push you forward. Some of you are about to see this shift. You're about to see God defeat an enemy. You're about to break an addiction. You're about to see a relationship restored. You're about to be thrust into the fullness of your destiny. And if you will have this attitude of faith, knowing that you cannot be defeated, and I believe and declare that God is going to send your enemies packing. He's going to do for you what you couldn't do on your own. Favor is coming. Healing is coming. Breakthrough is coming. Victory is coming. You're going to rise above every obstacle and become everything God's created you to be.
And most people stop at failure. It's the most powerful tool you can use. So hard in our lives to fit in. When my father came over from India over to the States, he was a professor, but his credits didn't transfer over. The education said, well, it doesn't transfer over to the States. So, all right, he had to find a job in the university. So there was a position known as a degreaser. So what a degreaser is, after every quarter or every semester of anatomy school, they have to do something with the cadavers. Okay? You can't roll them over into the next class.
Right.
You know, they're filled with formaldehyde and everything, so they weigh anywhere from 400 to 500 pounds.
Whoa.
So his job was to dismantle the cadaver, put it into the furnace, and then take the ashes out and get disposable. So at an early age, my mom worked the night shift as a nurse, my dad worked the day shift. They couldn't afford a babysitter. So when we were off of school, guess what? Went to work with my dad. Sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do, but you got to always provide for your family. This is how I'm providing for my family. Lessons like that stick with you. I mean, you have to be prepared to take any and every opportunity that's presented to you. All right, nothing's just going to happen. You know, everybody say it's all on you. It is all on you. There's other people that can educate you and help you, but you take these different experiences that you learn that stick with you. I mean, you may not remember a whole lot when you were 4 years old, but there's certain memories, there's certain things. You can use them to either harness you to greatness, or you can use them to kind of just keep you where you're at. And most people are just satisfied with at. There's always a next level. Your definition of greatness and what you want to achieve could be totally different than somebody else's. You know, we always say no one wants to be first, okay, because they're afraid of the consequences that come with doing something first. You know, we go to Michael Jordan. When Michael Jordan took over the Charlotte team, okay, everyone says he's a failure. Well, how can you be a failure when you're the first professional athlete to own a majority of a franchise team? Can't be a failure. You're the first to do something. If you're the first to do something, you can't be listed as a failure. I wanted to be the first to do something, and that was to work with high-end professional athletes. Your preparation has to be second to none. We have tons of information available to us, okay? But the difficult part is we don't have a lot of individuals who have the ability to process information at a quick rate. The ones that can excel, and we call them cleaners in the book, they're so well prepared at their task, no matter what variable is thrown at them, what circumstance, they can adjust and they can get that end result. The champions never exhale. So a cooler is a person that you give a job to, and you're going to get the desired result. You're not going to get anything exceptional. You're not going to get anything outstanding. You're going to give them something to do. They're going to deliver a result that's expected. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. Every team and every organization needs coolers on them. Then when we have closers are a level above that. Closers are people that you give a task to, you give an assignment, they're going to deliver you that end result majority of the time, as long as too many variables are not thrown at them. A cleaner is an individual, what we call a don't think person. They're so well prepared at what they do. They spend hours and hours of time, years of getting prepared, that no matter what's thrown at them, they're going to deliver that end result over and over again. Their instincts are so dead on that no matter what variable, what problem, they can adjust on the fly and have the ability to get themselves in what we call the zone. The problem is, in order to be able to put yourself in the zone, preparation is the key. We try so hard in our lives to fit in. We try to fit into certain groups, certain frats, certain sororities, among certain friends. Yet the people we idolize are the ones that stand out. But when you're prepared, there is no fear. There is no fear of failure, okay? Because even if you've walked out of something and you feel like you failed at it, your preparation is so strong that you're going to take that failure and turn it into the outcome you desire. And most people stop at failure. Okay? We've all failed at things. I'm going to continue to fail at stuff, right? It's the most powerful tool you can use, but it all depends on how you use it. You know, we talk about it in Relentless, okay? A scalpel, okay? In the hands of an individual, it can do unbelievable damage. In the hands of a professional, of a doctor, it saves lives. So it's the same thing with failure. It's how you use it. It's that drive inside of you, okay? It's what we talk about, the dark side. The dark side is filled with failure, but it's the fuel that burns you like something that's never burned inside you before. You can't talk about what you did 5 years ago. You can't talk about the deal that you closed last week, okay? You can't talk about your sales for last month, okay? Those things are expected of you. Don't expect to get a pat on back for doing your job. You're supposed to do your job. Now, when you do something extraordinary, it doesn't quite feel the same. Relentless isn't about your physical traits. It's about your mental trait. No one is going to play basketball like Michael Jordan. There's individuals out in the NBA, the top guys, they're never going to play basketball like that. But his mindset can be taught to everybody. That's something we all can take away from it. So when I really made the transition from, I'm sure at some point I was a cooler, I was a closer. My transition came in when I said, I'm going to stop playing basketball. My career is over with. For most people, that's the end. For me, that was just the beginning. That's when my whole transformation started into getting into the cleaner mentality. How am I going to be an individual who's never played professional basketball or a professional sport, never going to be able to take the greatest athletes in the world and tell them, this is how you can do it better? Could you imagine that? Somebody who's never scored a single basket in the NBA is taking the world's greatest individuals and telling them, this is what you're doing wrong. This is how you can do it better. And I don't have a whole lot of time and a whole lot of words to get my message across. The truth is very concise. The words are very few. But people don't want to hear the truth because the truth hurts. Okay? But you grow from pain. You really do. You can't know how to deal with success. You can't know how to deal with failures. You can't know how to deal with the bumps in the road that if you haven't had a taste of everything. Okay? And once you remember that bitter taste in your mouth, you never want to feel that again. There's a lot of people that are just a something. There's very few people that are the something. The process of the rehabilitation started the moment he got up. So even what everybody else thought he was losing, he actually gained. The reckoning process, the healing process started immediately when he stood up. I'm going to go to the free throw line. I'm going to go make these 2 free throws. That's how a cleaner thinks. Okay? We all have that ability. We all have next level ability. Okay? There's not other people that aren't holding you back. Your boss isn't holding you back. Your parents aren't holding you back. Those are excuses. To me, there's no such thing as luck. Okay? All luck is preparation meeting opportunity. Plain and simple.
You could be rich, man, but you cannot erase the work ethic part. There is no getting around. Ain't no elevator to the top. You got to take the stairs. The elevator don't go to the top, man. Not in the world of success. You got to take the stairs. Y'all got to start getting gritty, man. Somebody taught this to me a long time ago. He said, Steve, in order to get to the life of your dreams, you're going to have to learn how to get comfortable being uncomfortable. When you hear people say all the time, I don't want to do nothing that I'm not comfortable with, this person's in trouble. Because whatever your comfort zone is, if you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you'll fail. If your comfort zone is this big and you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you'll fail. In order to succeed in life, you have to step outside of your comfort zone. But I want to tell you something about yourself. All of you are equipped to live outside of your comfort zone. See, a lot of people are afraid to jump. A lot of people are afraid to take chances. A lot of people are afraid to put things up for risk. And you shouldn't be. Now, you can be afraid, but you should learn how to go ahead anyhow. See, because let me show you something about yourself. For all the bad days you've ever had, for every day that you thought you wasn't going to get through, for every period in your life you did not see no way you could come out on the other side, your track record for surviving them bad days is 100%. You have survived every single one of them. Your track record for surviving bad days, y'all, is 100%. And that's pretty good. You can't name one bad day you ain't got through. I have a life of convenience now. But in order to get the life of convenience, you got to have a very uncomfortable life. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Stop trying to do everything the short way. Stop trying to figure out the easy way. You got to get messed up sometime. You got to get dirty. You got to get your feelings hurt. You got to get disappointed. You got to get told no. You're going to ask somebody for some money. He going to tell you no. But show me something that has grown into something beautiful that didn't have no dirt on it. You take a seed and throw it on the concrete. Don't put no dirt on it and watch what happens. See, you get tripped out because you got dirt on you. But you need dirt on you to develop. Because dirt ain't just dirt. Dirt is fertilizer. Dirt is nutrients. Dirt gives you the strength for your seed to push through. See, you got to have dirt on you to push through something. Everything you see that's beautiful starts out as a seed. But that seed got to get dirt on it. See, you get mad when haters come your way. You get mad because you get a setback. You get mad because you get thrown off course. You get mad because you get a detour. That's just dirt. You get mad because they talking about you. That's dirt. You get mad because you lost your mama. That's dirt. I want you to think about all them bad moments you had that looked like you wasn't going to make it. And then I want you to ask yourself, well, why did I make it? Just change your mindset. If you change your attitude, you change your altitude.